for years they've told us that mirrors were just reflections and that they were harmless. They told us that it was just light bouncing back. That it was just glass, just physics, and nothing could hurt us. But back in 1973, the military embarked on an experiment known as Operation Mirrorwalk that would change the face of how we view mirrors forever. And what if these mirrors weren't showing us just our world, but were showing us a parallel world? Welcome everyone back to the Alternate Reality Archives. This is episode 19, and this is Operation Mirrorwalk. So, don't forget, if we follow the trails of forgotten experiments, forgotten things that people seem to sweep under the rug, and this is one of them. So make sure you do what this banner says right at the bottom here, and enjoy the show. So, first, let's separate the fact from fiction, because you're probably wondering to yourself, what is Operation Mirrorwalk, and why don't I know about it? Well, it doesn't show up in any official archives, but it has been referenced previously in internal memos from a defunct research wing from the AFRD, or the US Army's Advanced Field Research Division. They were dated between 1982 and 1985, everyone. These memos unearthed requests and whistleblower leaks that describe this project like also involving interdimensional light resonance, which is crazy. And also, they weren't just testing optics, so that's what they want everyone to believe. They were just testing optics and everything, but they were testing entry points, and these entry points were also like not examined, but they were headlined by researchers that had backgrounds in like quantum physics. So why was they doing that with mirrors, like quantum physics? You'd think it's all getting kind of weird. And there's also some with experimental psychology. So why was they looking for entry points through mirrors, And this is where it gets strange and it gets hidden with the science, everyone. Quantum physicist Hugh Everett, who you may have heard of, he was behind the many worlds theory and interpretation, and that. He proposed this theory back in 1957 and it was to do with quantum mechanics. Basically, he basically said that whatever choices we make, whatever branch we take off in life and observation, gives us a parallel. It basically makes a new timeline, a new universe where we didn't do it. So, say you went for that job interview, for the job you didn't want, and that, but you had to take the job. If you didn't take the job in this timeline, in another timeline, you did take the job and it veered off. Or if you didn't have a family in this timeline, you had a family in another timeline. That kind of thing. So, now imagine using a mirror, everyone. This object, obviously, if you get hanging up or whatever, it reflects photons, like what we're basically, and it's like a kind of bridge dividing a river, which you put, like, imagine like the London Bridge or Tower Bridge. It's dividing one half of London with another half of London, and then the River Thames. So this bridge is us there, mirror here. We're looking in, we've seen ourselves, but what if we're looking at something else in that mirror? So the AFRD researchers and scientists believe that and theorized that mirrors, everyone, especially in pairs, could briefly synchronize and synchronize like states across two realities. So basically, Have you ever heard of the thing that if you have one mirror there and then you've got one directly opposite, it's like you could open a portal basically, and that's what they were trying to say. But that's what they're trying to say. That there's two realities like coming in and that. So basically, another version of this, another version of you, one step removed. Basically, they're saying, it might not show you. There's like one mirror might not show you, but the other mirror would show you, kind of thing. One step removed, or just slightly off, and then the disappearances began. Apparently, because they said it's not official in that, but the memos kind of reference this. Most chilling accounts came from a supposed test series for these mirrors, which was called Delta Walk. Yeah, I know, kind of flamboyant name, Delta Walk. Hang on, everyone. I'm just trying to get my notes up. Give me 2 seconds. There we are. Sorry about that, everyone. So, and remember, if you're enjoying this, to do that. So basically, according to notes attributed to an AFRD researcher, now this is where it gets weird, a MD Langston, which doesn't, and no one knows if he exists or not. 2 volunteers entered to step into a mirrored corridor made of just one-way reflective glass panels. The protocol was walk to the end of this corridor, stop, turn around, come back. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, one only returned. What happened to the other person? The other person, you may ask, who was it? His name was Robert Eldon, and he was a technician. But this is where it gets even stranger. You think, right, in an I-class facility like that, you'd think, right, they'd have cameras and whatever to record it, because in case anything goes wrong. Yeah, they did record the incident, but the files were corrupted. And the room sensors that was detecting everything that was going on in the experiment was overloaded. And the remaining volunteer who went with Robert claimed Robert just kept walking. He kept walking, but his reflection stayed in one place. Yes, Robert kept walking, you heard, but his reflection stayed in one mirror and stayed still. AFRD claimed that this was an hallucination, that their mind was playing tricks on them. We were going down this long corridor. Yeah, it could have been. But this is where it gets even stranger, everyone. That very facility where Delta Walk took place shut down 6 months later. Just 6 months later after her disappearance, that they claimed was just an hallucination. The facility was shut down. Hello, Brooke. Yeah, 6 months after that incident with Robert Eldon, the facility was shut down. So how comes it was shut down then, everyone? They said it was, like I said, they said it was an hallucination. That if his reflection stood still and Robert kept walking, like this technician said, they said it was an hallucination. So then why was it shut down 6 months later? Who knows? But decades of later, we've always talked about these mirror rooms, and that rumors have persisted about them. especially under decommissioned facilities and research bunkers. But back 21 years ago, back in 2004, in Nevada, yes, Nevada. If you don't know Nevada, you said Las Vegas, Area 51, all that lovely jubbly. Reno. Uploaded footage from a structure marked property of the DOD, or it was also, and they also said, do not enter this facility. Right, urban explorers went in and had a look round. Inside, they found a sealed chamber, right, with walls that were made entirely of black mirrors. No doors, no windows, just these black mirrors. Now this is where it gets even eerier. There's a burnt out chair in the center of the room, and an eerie So right. Do we think, all right, what's going on here? The video, right, was online for 12 hours. Right. Then poof, no explanation, vanished off the face of the earth. The account that uploaded it was deleted. The domain was scrubbed. Was that a coincidence? What the hell is going on there? You know? Also, if you like my merch, let me know. Right. But yeah, why the hell was the footage vanished? Just vanished like that? And if they didn't want to tell you something. Funny, innit? So, you're going to probably ask, you're still probably going to ask yourself here. Right. What was Operation Mirrorwalk precisely? Well, it's just an hypothesis that reality could be folded to a point where observation was like meeting reflection. Was it basically a failed? Was it a failed experiment in quantum science or quantum surveillance? Was it a psychological test to people to try and see if they go mad? Or maybe they succeeded and they saw something that they weren't meant to and they shut it down. Like a reflection that looked back and stepped forward through the mirror. We'll never know the answers to why Robert Eldon disappeared. Or why when they said that why that other technician said that his reflection stood still. And he just kept walking down this mirrored corridor. We'll never know the answer to that. We'll never know the answer to why, just 6 months after the research team said it was just an hallucination, their facility was shut down. But all we do know is that when you look into a mirror, you're not going to look into the mirror the same way ever again. So, I want to know if you ever looked into a mirror and saw something that you weren't meant to, something that you weren't staring back, something staring back at you, and that made you feel like you weren't alone. So, this has been the Alternate Reality Archives, episode 19, Operation Mirrorwalk. They said that these reflections were just light, and they've lied. If you enjoyed this journey into the liminal edges of truth, hit that like button for this episode. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what I have to hear in future episodes. Drop a comment below in the comments if you ever had a strange mirror experience before. Share this with a friend who thinks that mirrors are safe. And until next time, remember to keep watching, but reality and mirrors will always watch back. And until and then join me tomorrow for Haunted Hours. Bye bye, everyone.